As you really underscored, the amount of Americans who want or need this drug is really significant, but the price is really eye-popping. It's $1,349 a month. So first, does insurance cover this at all? And second, how does the average American afford this?
That is the central question. So right now, one of the value propositions that the Row program offers is what we refer to as the insurance concierge. So we will collect the appropriate information, we'll verify a patient's benefits, we'll contact their insurance company. If needed, we'll go through appeals. We will really do our best to maximize the chances that our patients are covered. Um, we do see we do see the majority of our patients being able to achieve some form of coverage and assistance in paying for these drugs. Having said that, if the majority, if 50+% of them are seeing coverage, it still does mean that about 40%, just over 40% are not. And so where patients are seeing coverage, and then we can say where they're not seeing coverage. So where patients are seeing coverage is either if they are clinically eligible for Ozempic and Wegovy. What I mean by that is they are on label. So again, Ozempic is approved for those who have a confirmed diagnosis of type 2 diabetes most frequently. And then Wegovy is approved for those with a BMI of 27 plus with a comorbidity or a BMI of 30 plus. We do see our ability, let's say with Wegovy, to get the majority of patients some assistance, but they are limited by their insurance plan. And so I'll call out in the federal government has been tremendously forward-looking here, and starting in January of 2023, they've started to cover anti-obesity medications for all federal employees. So I think that the government has recognized for all their employees and their families that obesity is a disease that deserves access to the highest quality and most effective treatments. You see some forward-looking companies start to cover this medication because they see both the short-term benefit that it provides patients in terms of improved, lowered in a single year. You see lowering of A1C, lowering of LDL, increase of HDL, lowering of blood pressure, improvements in quality of life. So you see reductions in absenteeism and presenteeism. So you can see a short-term improvement in productivity as well as retention. We did a survey with the Obesity Action Coalition highlighting the fact that the importance that employees will hold, and the importance that employees have in terms of their desire to work at a company that will cover this. We've seen actually 50% of patients will stay at a job that they dislike if it means that their medication will be covered, and 44% would actually quit their job and go to another one if they covered it. So we do see forward-looking employers see it as a short-term benefit to the patient, to the employee in terms of an improvement in their health and quality of life. And long-term, I think we are going to see studies show that it dramatically improves the quality of life and reduces macro and micro cardiovascular events and reducing instances of hospitalizations and severe health challenges. So that's where we're seeing coverage, forward-looking employers, the U.S. government. Where we are not is extremely cost-conscious employers who generally shift towards a short-term mindset. So if they have a high employee turnover, their incentives are such that they are not incentivized to care as much about the long-term health of their employees. And so they're unwilling to make that upfront investment given the cost. For those who are not covered, so that's what we see. Row is able to offer the majority of patients some cost assistance through the insurance concierge, but it's complicated. There's tremendous back and forth. And our hope is that employers do start to match the federal government and see the benefit of covering these transformative medications. For patients who aren't covered, you are absolutely right. It is the cost is untenable for the majority of Americans. $1,000 a month for a medication as effective as this, as powerful as this, it's egregious. It's too much. And I think that the way out of this, which I'm excited about, because I think that this pain point with the efficacy of these new treatments has the ability to highlight the distorted incentives in our healthcare system. And we at Row sort of have this philosophy of we never bet against the patient. We never bet against what they want and what they need. And they have voiced so loudly and so clearly and so vigorously that they want and need and deserve access to this treatment. So while it's $1,000 now, as you mentioned, there are some that are 1,000, there's some that are 1,300, some that are 1,500. That is egregious and way too much for the majority of Americans. And so I think it does highlight those who are able to pay cash. It highlights the inequality that has existed for far too long in the U.S. healthcare system. But competition, we do believe will be the thing. Competition and government pressure will be the thing that drives a significant and hopefully fast decrease in price. The more that we see, not just Wegovy or Mounjaro soon to be approved, but you see Pfizer has GLP-1s in its pipeline. You see AstraZeneca, you see Viking, you see Boehringer Ingelheim. You see some of the largest and most powerful pharma companies in the entire world striving or battling for the same and vying for the same market. That will be wonderful for patients. That level of competition will hopefully drive down the price. It might take a few years, but I think our job, and when I say our, I mean our collective job in society, should be to recognize the extreme prices that are currently in existence, recognize the desperate need that patients have and the tremendous overall health benefit to our system, and then work as a unit to create that competition and to compress the time in which more and more people have access to these treatments, because it is inevitable. We see this time and time again, whether it's statins. When statins first came out, they were $8,000 a year in terms of today's dollars, and the New York Times wrote that it would revolutionize cardiovascular treatment. And now you can get a year's supply of statins for under $50, right? And if you're part of Amazon Prime, I think you can get it basically for free.